Up next, we got Jesse Lee Peterson. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, and let me know what you think about the video in the comments. With that said, let's get into it.
Welcome to the Fallen State TV. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. I absolutely appreciate it. I did a YouTube video, a commentary on Beyonce during the halftime of the Super Bowl. It was one of the most evil things I've seen happen in a public way. And I received a phone call from the Black Student Union at Trade Tech College here in Los Angeles, wanting to talk with me about my YouTube video. I have with me tonight Andre Shirley. Also, Michelle Watson is here, and we want to have an open and honest discussion about Beyonce and the whole race issue. Andre goes to school at Trade Tech, and Michelle is a community activist. Do you work with Black Lives Matter or the Black Student Union, or both?
Both.
Both?
Both, and also the Los Angeles Black Workers Center.
Oh, okay. What do you guys disagree with me about?
Let's go down the list. Well, let's start off with how you described Beyonce and her performance. When you said that white people should have gotten up and walked away.
Why? Why is that a problem?
Race relations is something that needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. It has held this country back and held my people back for far too long. And until we can, as a society, sit down and understand what's plaguing us, we will never be able to move forward, ever.
But she wasn't talking about it at the football game.
No, she was bringing attention to the fact that there is lack of value on Black lives here in America.
Most people, when they go to the Super Bowl, they're taking their families, their kids are with them.
Yes.
They want to go there and just have fun. They don't want to hear Black people complaining about so-called racism at a football game. If Beyonce wanted to talk about it, she should have called together a meeting and say, hey, I'd like to bring everybody together and let's have a discussion about so-called racism in America.
Racism is not private.
Have we asked for this conversation? How many times have we asked for a conversation about race relations? I have a dream that one day my children will be judged by the content of
Black people have been talking about racism for 50 years or so.
Did Harriet Tubman have to constantly go back before a conversation? We are at a point in society where us as young people, we're tired of seeing it. We're tired of hearing. I'm tired of walking down the street in my hoodie and being afraid because I just saw a police officer. Not being afraid because there's some people down on the corner that I don't know. Not being afraid because my next door neighbor is always in his garage. I don't know what he's doing. But being afraid because the people who are charged to protect and serve my life, people who are taking my tax dollars to have a job to protect and serve my life. So tell me about
Beyonce. Let me ask you about Beyonce. Beyonce is 34 years old.
Yes.
And I see the point where what he's talking about. But also, you got to remember, I was also a young Black man walking around, especially when you're young, in your teens, you know how the feeling, how you feel alone. You feel like you're invincible. But walking on the street, it could be anybody. I used to think the same way. I understand we were programmed to think that way. So every time you're driving, you see a cop behind you, you're nervous. Now you're paranoid. We were programmed to think that way. Because in reality, yes, you got good cops, bad cops. And half of the time, when I see the cop behind me and I get nervous, the cop right past me. Or even when I was young, walking on the block of the street, maybe a cop harassed me maybe twice. Half of the time, they just passed me like they didn't even see I existed. Like I wasn't even there, like I was a ghost. So that fear is programmed into the mind. They having you think that way. We don't say it's not. I won't say it doesn't happen. It does happen. But how frequently?
She's married.
Yes.
She has a daughter.
Yes.
And first of all, she out doing this booty dance, half naked, dressed in black, looking like a thug. Is that a good example for, and I'll ask you this, Michelle, is that a good example for other young girls? And should a married mother act that way in public?
Beyonce is a woman. and women have sexuality and femininity, right? And so that's where the style comes from. If it's okay with her husband, then it's no one should ever have anything to say.
Is she a good example for other young girls to see an older woman acting that way?
Yes.
That is a good example?
Yes, because that's not their status. They know you are from a baby, a child, a little girl, a teenager. They're not a woman, right? And they know that. But just because they see a woman in its full manifestation doesn't mean that it'll negatively affect them.
Would you want...
All right, sorry, sorry, sister, but you're wrong. I hate to break it down for you, but you're wrong. You guys see what happened recently with Meg Thee Stallion, and I forgot. I think it was it India Ree? I think that's who it was. Well, she's a lot older now. She's like 51, 52 years old, and she was going in about the young black woman that's growing up now. How they don't, there's always a time and a place for everything. But Meg Thee Stallion and a lot of other, I guess, the female dancers, they were twerking and shaking all over the place. And there was a bunch of kids around. So kids look up to that. If you look up to the generation, that's who they look up to. Sexy Red, Ice Spice. What do they all do? A bunch of twerking. And you see a lot of these young girls and kids follow that. So yes, they're not looking at Beyonce like, wow, Beyonce is rich and famous. No. Look at how she's dressing, the sex appeal, the shaking. That's what they're looking at. So you're wrong, sister. You're wrong. Because if you look at it, go on Instagram alone. And I'm going to prove my point.
Your mother out doing the hoochie mama dance, half naked, dressed in black, where the world is looking at her?
Everyone is entitled to a good time.
No, but would you want your mother to do that?
I would.
Hold on a minute. Would you want your mother to do that?
To have fun in a black dress
on
national television?
Half naked doing the hoochie mama
half
dance.
Naked.
Beyonce was not half naked.
Yes, you are. But you didn't answer the question. Would you want your mother doing that?
Depends on how old she is. Yeah.
No. A mother is a mother. We're trying to hear that.
So would you want your 34-year-old mother doing that?
Why not? Like I said, everyone is entitled to their expression of themselves.
Is that a
She's
yes
not
or no?
just yes. It's a yes.
That's a yes?
It's a yes.
You would want your mother doing that?
It's a yes. My 34-year-old mother, yes. It's in the self-expression.
What is it that she's trying to express?
She's trying to express, for one, the powerfulness of the black woman and the black movement.
But that's
and
not
how
power
she's in
to go out
solidarity.
and hoochie mama dance half naked. That's no power in that.
There's no power in that.
What is a hoochie
Women are
mama
doing
dance?
that in bars and clubs every day and night. Don't you think?
Showing one's
Exactly.
physical beauty
Dance
is a weakness.
is a part of art.
But not half naked in the public. Let me ask this. Beyonce promoted Black Lives Matter. We all know that Black Lives Matter is an agitative, evil group of people who could care less about black people.
We do not
She
all
also,
know that.
let me finish,
I'm
and then
not
I'll let you
saying that
respond.
Can
She
we not
also
establish that as a
promoted,
fact, though?
hold on, I'll let you respond. She also promoted the Black
He's in
Panther
his feelings.
Party, and we know that Black Panthers promoted killing cops, and they killed at least 2 police officers that I'm aware of. And in Chicago, black people were afraid of the Black Panthers during those days because they were so radical. She also promoted Malcolm X at a Super Bowl game.
Yes.
And you guys are okay with that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask this then.
Promote my people.
Next year, I'm asking the KKK to go and perform a cross burning, dressed in hoods, white sheets and hoods at the Super Bowl halftime. Are you okay with that too?
We live in America where you have freedom of speech. If that's the idiocracy you want to promote, then
so you would be
you'll
okay
feel
with
free
that,
to
right?
do that. I would personally be a part of the crowd that's protesting it. As you said, white people should have gotten up and walked out on Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar's performances. I would be that black person that would bring that protest to your front door and ask you how
if
as a black
promote
person could you promote an organization that judged your ancestors on the color of their skin and not the content of their character, never even asked them a simple question, but because they were solely black, put them in chains and make them work on a field. And
the
these
KKK
are the people
didn't do that.
The KKK is a terrorist group, and it's the longest standing
and
terrorist
so
group
in
Los Angeles. Black Lives Matter is not a terrorist group.
So let me ask.
Black Lives Matter is simply an affirmation to black people that we matter, because we don't see it enough in our community. Nobody tells us, not even our parents sometimes, that we matter. So when we say Black Lives Matter, it's not saying that you don't matter. It's not saying that we matter more than somebody else. It's saying that we matter, and I can tell myself that I matter, just like I can tell myself that I'm beautiful, right? To affirm it to myself.
So,
all right, back to what the other guy was saying. But you see, he don't understand the concept. Every time somebody talks about slavery or the KKKs, they all they could do is bring up the past. Nobody could bring up something about the KKK right now. Knowing what the KKK was about back then, are they still doing the same thing now? Where? Point us the video. Where are they doing it? Now that I'm saying that, look at what, like she was saying, she pretty much explained what the Black Lives Matter means. But look at California. California people, the homeless people, everyone's saying they never recovered from all the destruction that happened in 2020, the whole George Floyd protest, when they burned, they loot, destroyed. A lot of homeless people were complaining and saying, it looks the same, still destroyed. So how did you help your community there? You just destroyed your own community by your own people. You didn't make no statement to the KKK or white supremacy, whatever you want to call it. You destroyed your own people community. And they're still suffering up to this day. The Black Lives Matter went back and apologized to those people communities that they destroyed, that were black people? No.
That a no about the KKK performing. You wouldn't support that.
Okay, first of all, let me get this straight. So you said the Black Panthers had people scared in Chicago, right? They had people scared to sell drugs in the neighborhood. They had people scared to prostitute women in the hood. The Black Panthers they started the free meal program. They started WIC program, which the government has started to take over because they fed communities, right? And so when you have the KKK who started things like Halloween, where they dress up in masks and go firebomb houses, black houses, where they hang people from trees, have parties with black people hanging from trees like strange fruit, if you've ever touched up on your black history. But you have these KKK terrorist organization groups that have tormented black people for years, African people for years, but they are not labeled as a terrorist group. So then you have a black group emerging from the community called Black Lives Matter, and now we have to be a terrorist group, and we're here to rebuild the community, to hit the capitalist white supremacist society right in its face and stop it and say, hey, this is not right.
Okay, so let me go back to the question. Is that a no for the KKK performing this year?
Only if you're on the cross.
I'm sorry?
Only if you're on the cross.
I'm on the cross?
Yeah.
And then you'll be okay with it?
Yeah.
Why are you so mean?
I'm not mean.
Why would you want to put me on the cross because we disagree?
Because
where's the love in that?
It's like, why me though? But everything, all right, I totally understand. We all know the history of all of this. We know how cruel it was, how brutal it was. All right, fine. Put that out the way. In order for you to move on in life and have a successful life, and you have to let go of the past. You can't go on and date another girl while you still hold on to your ex-girlfriend, the past. It's going to affect your present relationship. You have to let go. And she said help the black people in those communities. Who helped them? Like right now in these days in town, nobody's helping nobody. Look what happened to Kai Cadet, that guy from social media, the black guy, when he was in New York City, when he was having the giveaway. Did you see what happened? You see when people were out there? They're destroying cars. Yeah, well, it's a different variety. People, the majority were black, but you see what I'm saying? The future of the next generation coming up, it does not look good. It looks very dim. Nobody's guiding these youths. Nobody. They're looking up to social media influencers. That's what they're looking up to. It's sad that we had this state of mind that we overlook what goes on in the black community by hanging on to what happened to our ancestors and other people in the past. Not looking at the present right now, what we are doing to one another in the present time right now.
The love in you.
Where's the love in you? Let me ask you this
conversation. Where's your love for Trayvon Martin, who didn't even do anything?
Where's your love for Ezel Forge?
Let me ask you this.
Omar Obrego.
Hold on. You said that Black Lives Matter make black people feel worthy and beautiful?
No, I didn't say we make people feel. I said it is a positive affirmation to ourselves.
They affirm you?
Yes.
And what do they affirm about you?
It affirms my being and the positivity in my being and the purpose in my being.
And you didn't feel that way prior to Black Lives Matter? You did not feel that way?
No.
Why not?
Because the way that society is set up, it makes me feel that as a woman, there are things that I shouldn't have. There's a specific way that I should act. And that because I'm Black, my chances of everything is significantly lowered.
So your parents did not make you feel worthy while raising you?
They told me I was beautiful.
And they
told me I was smart. They told me I was important. But yes, I believe them. But
so why do you need Black Lives Matter?
Because the way that you are treated and what you are told are two different things. My mom told me I was beautiful now and I was smart. But when I go into society, they don't see that beauty. They don't see that intellect. Society. Just because I'm Black.
Who are you referring to in society?
I'm referring to the structure.
Are you talking about white people or Black people and white people and others? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about white people?
I'm not talking about a person.
Specifying any particular
I'm not talking about a person.
So society.
Somebody has to be the system that you're referring to.
It's a thinking. See, we have to
who
understand
are you
that it's not a people.
But who are you
thinking?
And who is thinking?
I'm referring to the government.
Who is thinking this way?
The people who wrote our laws.
Who is that? Are you talking about white people, Black people, Mexican, or them all?
White people.
You talking about white people?
Mr. Peterson, if I
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
She can't be serious. This is live.
White people?
I gave you what you're looking for, huh?
No, are you talking about white people?
Yeah, I'm talking about anyone who wants or feeds into white supremacy in this structure.
So you're talking
anybody,
about
whether they be white, Black,
and
Asian, Latino, whoever.
Oh, okay.
If you agree with this white capitalist, white supremacist structure, then okay, that's for you. But if you don't agree, because there's a variety of all the races who don't agree, do agree.
Oh, okay. So Andre, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to say that I don't think it's a people. It seems to be a majority of people that have this racist thinking that I must keep this race oppressed so that I can stay superior. Although, I mean, our history do show.
Who are you referring to now?
I'm telling you that it's a thinking that's in society.
And who's doing this thinking in society?
It's been the Caucasian race for
So the white
ages.
race is holding you back.
No one's holding me back because
the white
I create
race
my
are discriminating against you.
Because of my race, yes. It's sad.
And they have set up a system to where
that?
they don't have to discriminate, but they have a system that does it.
Where's my proof?
Yeah.
The fact that as a young Black man growing up in a society, my parents had to tell me that I had to do things 4 times better than the Caucasian person just to survive in this country.
So your parents told you that?
Hold on. But me being a person that's objective and I can see both sides of the coin, I go into society, I do the same thing as my fellow classmates, yet I realize that I do have to do more to get into society. The fact that before I go on the job interview, I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with my hair because my texture of hair is not what America deems job appropriate. So I have to go and cut my hair, although I believe that this is where my strength is, because I am the only person on this earth that has this kind of hair, that can have any hairstyle without doing anything.
You believe your hair is your strength?
What is he? Samson, you know, from the Bible? I see what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. But come on, it's getting ridiculous at this point. You pretty much put everything on white people. You understand? We know job discrimination does happen. We're not saying it don't. It does happen. But I know I've been discriminated against, and I like to have my hair cut low. I like to look fresh. I like to look clean. I want my hair looking. I know I personally feel, I feel raggedy when I look like that. When I don't have my hair cut. It's a personal feeling. That's your personal feeling. You can't go for a job and have your hair looking like that unless you're the person that's running the business. Otherwise, like, you can't. That is normal. I see some white boys the same way when they came for a job interview. When I was a manager and they came for a job interview, they had their hair cut looking fresh, looking clean. It's called look presentable. Look like you're hireable.
All of this is my strength. I have strength in here that I can't even contain. And I think that is a reason why we have this issue with everything Black people do. Is called a protest, an outrage, is because we are passionate people.
No, you're very angry people.
Oh.
If you're very passionate, where's that passion when we got all these young kids that die from stray bullets, from drive-bys? Where's that passion? That's the problem a lot of white people have. And a lot of black people say the same thing. Where is that passion for gang violence when all this crazy is happening and there's no outrage? You tell me a little 4-year-old girl gets shot in the backseat of a car, there shouldn't be an outrage? But if it was a white person that did it, the shooting, oh, it would have been everywhere. That's the problem we have. And there's nobody that has yet to come on there and tell the truth. And that's why Jesse's the one that's forced to hit them with the reality check of, you're being a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite. I yet to see one person that come up here and just tell the truth just like it is.
Oh, would you include yourself in that?
All hands are excuses.
I actually wanted to ask you, what is your nationality?
I was angry like you people at one point.
I'm not.
But I was able to overcome it, and I realized that I had been lied to. You guys, most black people are so angry, you're at a point now that no race like you.
Okay.
Not just the white race, isn't that right? It's not just the white race, the Hispanic.
Years of racism.
The Hispanics don't like you, the blacks don't like you.
Jim Crow.
You know,
I mean, constantly being told that we're less than, yet you go and get Botox and tanning salons and all this to look like us. You perm your hair, you crochet your hair to get locks, but we're ugly. I'm just saying, we would have a reason to be
So let me ask, how do you...
It's the same thing with black people. No black people won't get white people here. This is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. You see how people get tan, they get Botox, how they do the hair curly. Don't black girls go and get... Do you see a lot of black girls now? They're making the skin look lighter in complexion. Long white hair. Not even a curly, not even a roughness to make it look like it's black. No, straight long. I mean long. All the way to her butt. That is white people here. That's what I'm talking about. Keep it real and keep it authentic, man. You gotta be honest with yourself. Y'all just lying and putting yourself with denial, excuses. And he did said before, if you guys go back before, he just said nobody's holding him back. So what is the excuse? What is the problem? He just said nobody can hold him back. This is what the youths need to hear. But they don't preach this. They keep preaching all this victim mentality.
Feel knowing that most races do not like black people now because they're fed up with your bullying. They're fed up with your complaining and blaming and doing all that. You're turning off most people. How do you feel about that, Andre?
I would have to disagree with you on that statement, seeing that the...
no, I hear from them all the time.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my point across. You hear from them, but I see them, and I think actions are a lot better than words. When I see black and brown doing a march on Washington, that's race relations right there. That's
those radical, angry.
That's great. When I see Asian people standing outside the White House marching with Black Lives Matter, yes, yes. When I see people of other cultures going, you know what? See, this is what we have to do as a people. We have to wake up.
What do you want?
We got to stop listening to this rhetoric that's in the media.
Michelle, what do you people want?
What do I want?
Michelle,
when you say you people, what do you mean?
The complaining black people, blaming others for the failure of their parents and their lives, blaming others for whatever it is you're complaining about. What is it exactly do you want from white people?
First of all, I'm just going to take a breath. And
I'm trying to find out what you want.
Wow. You see how that works, huh? You've been doing all this complaining, pointing out, calling out, but you can't give an answer on the top of the... That's like that? You can't? Since you have all this built up frustration and complaints, they're giving you the chance. What do you want? Like I said, excuses. You just want to blame somebody for whatever that is going on in your life and why you haven't achieved certain success. This is what it seems like to me. People keep blaming people for their lack of success in life. Because if you have so much problem, if somebody asks me, hey, Kendel, how come you don't like that job? What you want for that job to be done? Well, you know, first I want them to treat us better with more respect. Stop cutting our hours. appreciate hard workers and stop talking. I could give them like many reasons why. She can't give one. She got to think about just one.
What's your nationality?
American.
Are you white?
I'm Black American.
Oh, okay.
What do you want?
You Caucasian.
Oh, you do? And why do you think that? Why do you think
that? Because you seem to separate yourself from us, should I say?
In
Put
what
us on
way?
the other side
what
of the
way?
fence.
She couldn't answer that question.
In
Wow.
the ways that you specified thus far.
Meaning what? Tell me. Give me an example and tell me what you mean.
How you mean? What do you people want from white people? Meaning that I'm not with you.
Oh, okay. I got
just y'all by yourself, right?
Let me explain why I do that. What you don't know is that there are two realities in life. One is that of good and one is that of evil. And now that I've been able to overcome evil, I don't identify with angry, evil black people. I identify with other blacks and others who are on the side of good. And so that's why I say you people, because I have to divide myself or separate myself from evil and go along with good. So that's why I do that.
What is it that makes us evil?
I'm sorry, your anger, your blaming others for your problems, your lack of love and respect for yourself and others.
Okay, well, that's another reason why I wanted to come on the show, because that has been a misrepresentation, right? We're not angry, we're not pointing the finger.
But you're blaming white people for your downfall.
No, we're not blaming white people for our downfall. Basically, we're just saying when the so-called Emancipation Proclamation was passed, a certain system was also set in place to make sure black people didn't make it that far.
What do you want at this point?
I want race to be taken off applications. What does that have to do with anything? I want to stop seeing my fellow young people being gunned down in the streets for carrying a can of tea and a bottle of Skittles, walking home.
Oh my God. I was with him for a second. Just like Justin said, I agree. When he was talking about the race and applications, I agree with that. Then he goes to walking down the street, having a soda, a bag of Skittles. He talking about I'm Trayvon Martin. Dude, this is hypocrisy, bro. We was with you for a second. Now you're pointing the finger again. Dude, you're most likely to get robbed or shot by someone that look just like you before the police. So in areas where you live, you know I'm telling you the truth. You will most likely be shot by somebody that look just like you than the police. Every time we try to get them a little credit, they just ruin it with the next line.
I want police to stop using illegal chokeholds to take people down and then completely getting off of it. I want our politicians and our elected officials to see the people that march in these streets across this nation that's saying, wait, no, this is wrong. I want people to do their jobs. I want to walk down the street and know that I'm safe.
Yes.
You've been brainwashed.
No, check this out. It's not that we want something from white people, right?
What do you want?
We want to see, first of all, this fact is, yes, in LA, right? Yes, in Chicago, that if you're black, you basically will be persecuted.
Who are you referring to?
I'm referring to anyone. Everyone who looks down upon black people, right? Who feels that if you have darker skin that you have a lower status.
Have you been discriminated against?
Yes.
By whom?
By white people.
What did they do to you? Tell me what happened to you.
They told me that I needed to wear my hair a certain way in order to be groomed.
Who told you that?
All right, a supervisor.
At your job?
Yeah, at a previous job.
At a what?
A previous job. I don't work there anymore.
So you were working at this company, and you went in, you applied for the job, and you, at the time that you were applying for the job, you told them, if you pay me X amount of dollars, I would come every day, and I will follow your rules, and you took the job, right? Is that right?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
They can't hear you.
Yes.
They can't hear you, Michelle. Come on. So when you agreed to do that job and follow their standards, their rules, you didn't mean it?
Yes, I did, but culture is...
They told you that up front. So see that you could walk right back out that door. Just right out of there. if you're coming into a job, you have to have some description of how you should dress. You can't come in there rocking your hat tip low with your do-rag on or a bandana. You gotta look professional, man. This is the petty thing they bring up. The pettiest things they bring up. This is, yeah, Jesse said, they've been brainwashed. Totally brainwashed. And the other dude, he's like so emotional. Like, and then she's talking about people looking in Chicago. Chicago? What happened to FBG Duck? FBG Cash? Should I go on and on? But all the rappers that died in Chicago by their own people? Not even one cop. By their own people. It's like a war zone in certain parts of Chicago. No, we're not going to point that out. We're just going to talk about the little 1 or 2 missing justice by the police. That's all we're going to keep bringing up. That's it.
Everybody has different culture.
So you meant to follow their rules. Did you know about the hair deal before taking the job?
No, they said, right.
They said
groomed means groomed, means you got up and you did your hair, you did your face, you're aware of your whole appearance, right?
Right. And so you went in there with what, an afro or something?
Something similar.
What you did? What you go in there with?
With a ponytail with the afro and a little bang in the front.
And they said, no, you can't wear that hairstyle.
They said it's just not it doesn't look professional, and they just made a recommendation, but they didn't say, oh, our rules prohibit you, but they said, oh, look, I just want to make a nice recommendation.
Right. And did they have a right to make that recommendation?
No, they didn't have a right.
Did they own the company?
No, they did not own the company.
Who owned the company?
The owner nobody owned the company.
Somebody have to own the company?
Nobody, it wasn't a company.
These people can't communicate. These are the wrong folks up here. Oh, wow. I'm not getting any real answers or anything.
No, so where were you working?
Excuse me, sir.
You got.
It's sad. This is sad. Nobody owned the company. Who owned the company? There's a manager. No company. So where were you working? What are you telling me for Martin? This is the simple, basic questions. Like, because you know why? You know why? Because she's lying. She is lying. There's no way you could just sit there with a straight face and be like, oh, there was no manager. Nobody owned the company. It's a job. So what do you mean nobody owned it? Capping. Just to get them out of here. They're capping. They can't bring up one factual proof of evidence throughout their whole life that they've been discriminated against. They can't bring one up.
You guys are not even communicating. I thought this was going to be like that.
You not offend my intelligence while I'm sitting right in front of you. You asked me for clear answers. I gave you clear answers.
I thought this
was to have a
you guys are not even
discussing.
I'm trying to get some understanding to what is wrong and what we can do about the problem, but you guys won't really.
Okay, I can tell you, you're focusing on problem, but you're not focusing on the solution, right?
And we'll get to that.
And you want to know what the solution would be?
No, we need to find out what is the problem. Have you been discriminated against? Who discriminated against you, and why?
I've been discriminated against. I've been told
it was the policy that allowed the recommendation to even come in. So it's policies that are created that people have to go by that perpetrate discrimination.
Was this with a private business that you were working for?
No, it was not
was it a government business?
Yes, it was.
And so the government rules are you can wear your hair any kind of way you want to?
As long as it's decent.
And so did your supervisor approach you about your hair once you got this job?
Be more specific in your
You said
question.
you got this job, and did you quit the job or you got fired?
I quit.
You quit. And you quit because of they recommend a different hairstyle.
No, that's not the reason why I quit.
Why did you quit?
Because I felt that I wanted more fulfilling work.
So where's the racism in that then? You quit because you were not fulfilled. You said that was an example of you being discriminated against.
Right, but that's just something that black people on a daily basis we have to work through.
God.
So
I had to work through that, right?
So
I had to conform to that.
So was it racism or you wanted to be fulfilled?
Mr. Peterson?
Wait a
minute, it was an instance on the job. It wasn't the final conclusion on the job.
So you quit because you wanted to be fulfilled, not because of discrimination about your hair.
Right.
But you just said that was
a problem.
But it had nothing to do with racism. You was not fulfilled. Why did you try to make that into racism?
But it's discrimination that we face, that all black people face on a daily basis, but that we have to work through.
You don't know all black people.
Okay,
don't
hey,
say
am I going to tell them fuck you, I'm gonna wear my hair the way I want to, or am I gonna work this out to
Michelle,
the next week and make sure that I can get a check?
Because you have not given me an example of you being discriminated against.
What I just said, I just told you guys that that's exactly what it sounds like. They're just making these stories up. See, Jesse just confirmed it. I'm not the only one. You're making this up. Where's the discrimination? If that's their business that they run on a daily, you have to dress appropriately. You won't just want to hear all over whatever, however you want. No, it's a business.
I asked for an
not
example.
valid enough for
Both
you.
of you are running around crying racism.
I'm not
and
crying racism.
You haven't given me an
Can
example.
you stop doing
Hold
that?
on.
I didn't say racism, I said discrimination.
You haven't given me an example of you being discriminated against.
Okay.
Have you been discriminated against?
Yes, I have been discriminated
And
against.
who discriminated against you?
An employer discriminated against me. They asked me to cut my hair.
Was it a white man or a white
This
person?
was a Caucasian female.
Okay, and so, private job?
No,
Private.
This is a public sector job.
Okay, so you filled out the application.
I filled out the application.
And you said on the app that I will follow the rules if you pay me X amount of dollars.
Yes.
And did you have the afro at the time?
Yes, I had my afro at the time.
And they still hired you?
And they hired me.
And so you went in and they said what to you? This is a white female boss, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a government job.
Great job.
And so you go into the office, she called you in.
Yes.
And she says what to you about your hair?
She told me that I had to cut my hair, that my hair had gotten too long and looked unmanaged.
Oh, okay. And what's wrong with that?
A lot is wrong with that.
Why? Why don't you want to look? I wouldn't hire you with the hair looking like that.
Why?
It's not. It doesn't look.
That's my natural hair texture.
It doesn't look professional.
Yeah, I'm not feminist.
It doesn't look professional.
No, they're gonna leave now. We're leaving.
Hold on.
Yeah,
No,
you ready?
You're done, Michelle. Now you can stay, baby, and then I really don't know you.
Why is she?
right.
Why is she bossing you
You're
around?
traumatizing.
Goodbye.
Stop letting your ass. Yeah, spectacle. Google me. My name's Jasmine Abdullah. I just sat here.
Are you her boss or something?
No, it's about black love.
Why are you
It's
pushing
about
her around?
You see how they're doing this because you're hurting them.
Why are you
You're
pushing them
hurting
around?
them, and you know they don't know what to say. You're
You're boxing everything in. This is not an open discussion at all.
I love you. I'm not angry with you. I love you, and I feel sorry for you. I feel really bad for you. I love you. You got a lot of self-hate.
Stop pushing her around.
She's bullying her.
Don't let that lady push you around.
No lady.
It's not a no.
She is pushing you around.
It's about love.
Yeah.
He said
I feel attacked
He said
by
you're
you,
a man.
but
No, you can't punk me.
I fight.
Oh, you do.
I stand in my
All right.
We agreed to have an open conversation, not to be boxed into particular.
Is this a strong woman running right now?
Well, actually, I think that's probably the best thing for her.
Hey,
I know I should, but
we're trying to do a TV show. Mark, don't engage. Continue the show.
Is that a strong woman leaving?
Honestly, I think that was the best decision for her to make. I think it was the best decision for her to make because she is younger than I.
I'm sorry.
She is younger than I.
Anyway, I appreciate you coming, Andre Shirley.
Hopefully this inspired some black youth to actually get up and let their voices be heard. Apparently society will not understand if we don't just come and
thank
tell
you, buddy.
them. Thank you.
Give me a handshake there. Thank you.
No
Appreciate
problem,
you
brother.
coming. All right, thank you.
He didn't really make. I understand a few things what he was saying, and I agree with him with certain little things. But the majority of the stuff that he was saying was excuses. Just making excuses after excuses. And a lot of the youths need to speak up. Yes, they do. And they need to speak up not just for what discrimination, not just racism, for black on black violence. They need to speak up on that too, because as of these days, that is causing more harm in the community than racism. And nobody could tell me that I'm wrong in the comments without giving me factual proof. We are causing more harm to ourselves than white supremacy. Yeah, she was controlling her. She like, oh, come on. He asked basic questions. These are basic questions. He wanted exactly what you went through. How discrimination somebody tell you something about your hair? It's a job. You got to look accordingly. Like those are basic questions. So if you haven't been discriminated against, that is not discrimination. That lady should have told her, sweetheart, that's not discrimination. You have to look professional. You can't go out in the job with one pants leg rolled up, your pants sagging. You have to dress professionally, accordingly. That is normal. If you're going on a date, how you want to look? If you want to impress your date, what do you do on your first date? You look good, right? You look fresh, nice haircut, you looking good. Some girls love that. Some jobs might not care if how you dress and how you look. Some jobs they do. That's just the way it is. That's not discrimination. Hey, at least the guy tried to stick out at the end. You know, he tried to stick in there. But like I said, everything they bring up, he brought up the same excuse that she did about the hair. They couldn't bring up anything else that was like factual evidence of discrimination. They couldn't do it because they haven't been discriminated against. See, we forced ourselves to create these problems. It's all up here. But I'd love to hear you guys think about this in the comments. The girl at the end, she laughed. She couldn't answer the question because she knows deep down she was making it up. It's sad that they had to blame white people for things that haven't been done to them. I think that's wrong. If you're gonna blame somebody for something, blame them with some actual proof and evidence. You want proof. You can't just blame somebody for something without factual proof and evidence. And they could not provide that proof and that factual evidence, and you guys saw it throughout the entire video. Those are basic questions. I could answer those questions if I was out there with Jesse. He ain't boxing you in. Those are basic questions. Is it a yes, no? Well, let me tell you how discriminated against, and this is what happened. There wasn't an owner of the company. No, then later on she said it's a government job. Hey, she did look young, but she ain't that young. Those are just basic questions. That's not kindergarten. She's not a kindergartner. She's an adult. But until then, I'll catch you guys next video. Peace out. You guys have a blessed day.